Very good evening. Warm welcome to our attendees. Very good evening to all our attendees present here. We will wait for about 2-3 minutes and then begin the session. Good evening and thank you for joining us before time. We'll just take about 2-3 minutes, wait for the others to join, and then we start on time. Thank you. Hello, Jeshta. Good evening.
Good evening, Nilu ma'am.
Good evening, Yesha. Warm welcome to
Good
both of
evening,
you.
Nilu.
Thank you for being here with me. I see that we have about 19 participants who are here with us right now, and we will wait just for a minute or two more before we begin with the session. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to all the educators here who are in this webinar with us for the evening. It's a pleasure having you all with us on a Saturday evening, and we're going to make it very productive. We promise you that. So that's a promise right at the beginning of the session. We will take the reflections post the session, of course, to understand your knowledge more deeply. Our topic for today's workshop is towards active learning environments, something that all of us educators envisage to create. And before we enter deeply into discussions on the topic, which is so dear to the heart of all three panelists who are sitting right here in front of you, let me begin by first introducing myself, introducing who we are and what is it that we're going to take you on today. It's a journey. Education is always a journey. I am Neelu Kalro, and I am your host for the evening. And along with me, I have two very important panelists here. I am the Deputy Principal Primary at JVCN International School, Parel. I am humbly and very happily the Mumbai Territory Head of Early Childhood Association, Mumbai Territory. And ECA has always worked very strongly towards nurturing each child one at a time and getting people together from the fraternity of education so that we open up these conversations. So a little bit about ECA before I introduce my esteemed panelists. The Early Childhood Association and Association for Primary Education and Research empowers parents, teachers, all stakeholders to explore and develop holistic programs and environments for children that will look after their safety, well-being, relationships, family, community, one child at a time. That is who we are and what we are. We are a learning community. That's about ECA. And it's been a journey of a good 7 long years for me. Totally productive, learned a lot, shared a lot of learning. And with me, I'd now like to introduce our esteemed panelists who's going to be hosting this session with me. We have with us Ms. Yesha Mahesh. Ms. Yesha is the pre-primary academic head at Children's Academy Group of Schools. She is also the Secretary for Early Childhood Association, Mumbai Territory. Welcome, Yesha.
Thank you, Neelu.
And it's a pleasure collaborating, working so closely with you. So dear audience, here we are. And Jeshta, in a minute, I will ask you to talk a bit about yourself and thank you for joining us. Jeshta Dedia is a working committee member of Early Childhood Association, the Mumbai Territory. And Yesha, do give your, sentence of reference and introduction to all of us.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to all of you. We now move ahead and begin with the session towards active learning environments, a blended approach. It's always important when we begin teaching and learning with our learners to understand what is the prior knowledge we hold. What is our expectation when we hear something? So here we are, and this is what I'd like to understand from you. And for that understanding to be clearer to me, what I'm going to do is I have shared a link on the chat with all of you. I hope you're able to open that link. Go to the link, and what I'd like you to do is, what is your understanding of active learning environments or a blended approach? And what is your expectation from this workshop? Please feel free to click on the pink button, which has the plus sign there. Once you click on that button, you will be able to double click and start typing your thoughts. So take a minute in very short to let us know what are your expectations from this session. In case you are not signed up for Padlet, you may not be able to do so. Then feel free to write it in chat and we will be able to hear you and understand more from you. The chat is enabled for all, so please feel free to put your thoughts there. I give you a minute or two to do that, please. Please don't be shy. It's nice to know what are the expectations of our group of students so that we are able to understand and move the entire teaching learning framework accordingly. Isn't that what we do with our learners? Okay, a minute more while you share your thoughts. Gently yet purposefully moving a little ahead. Yesha, may I ask you, may I request you to move to the next slide, please? So let's decode a few terminologies. Anju Agarwal, connecting the learning methods with the current situation. Brilliant. Thank you, Anju. That is a very pertinent reply to what is your expectation. The current situation is unique. It's a new scenario, and that's exactly what we're going to do now. Let's decode a few terminologies. Let me first talk about what was the scenario in a pre-pandemic world. Was it the same? Did we ever think as educators that we would be designing learning engagements and environments with such a high tech approach? What is it that is the objective? Is it a high tech approach, or is it to make the environment interactive and active so that the main stakeholder, our learner, who is at the very center of everything we do, is able to gain maximum out of every engagement that we plan, right? That is our focus in entirety. So in a pre-pandemic world, especially in early childhood association, I would say we never spoke so much about IT as a tool. We did use it. Yes, we used it more from a teacher's framework. But how do you get that into the classroom where it becomes one of the main platforms from where we are moving? So that is what we're going to look at today. And Shalan Kale, if I have the name right, mentions would like to get some innovative ideas to get more attention of students in online mode of teaching. I agree with you, Shalan Kale. That is certainly a challenge we are all facing. And I would say that many of us, when I talk to educators across, I realize that they have been able to rise up to the challenge beautifully. We have upskilled, we have really upped our understanding, and that is what we bring to our students. I think the world has gone for a change. Let's decode a few terminologies to understand a little more. If earlier the focus was on terminologies like by learning by doing, developmentally appropriate practices, experiential learning, hands-on learning, does that mean that these do not exist in a post-pandemic world? The new normal is now. What we were undergoing was the pandemic. So how do we turn all these terminologies and make it yet relevant? Because these are the key frameworks of learning that will need to be there and will need to be more sustainable. So with virtual learning, we have been plunged into a space where both the facilitator, that's the teacher, who will be with the learner, and the learner are not in a same environment or format. They are in totally different environments. And what is connecting them or bringing them together for continuity of holistic education is nothing else but the digital platform. Most of us, and many of us rather, have invested or use quite a few digital platforms, and it could be Zoom, Google, it could be Microsoft Teams, WebEx, to name a few. And what becomes imperative here that as facilitators, we balance the learning environment by immersing our learners into learning by doing. How do they take autonomy and charge of the doing? And at the same time, bringing those activities to our learners to perform, which actually make them think about what they're doing. So it's a lot of critical thinking, a lot of analysis that's happening, a lot of upskilling oneself, whether the facilitator or the learner. Kudos to the fact that our children, our learners, their resilience quotient is so high and their learnability is so high that they took to this like a duck to water. So that was the beauty of plunging into it. So what do you mean by towards active learning environments? The idea would be that we use technology to redefine and understand that learning experience, it integrates technology seamlessly and meaningfully to bring it to our main stakeholder. So quoting a little from what the philosophers tell us, Bonwell and Eisen, describe active learning strategies as instructional activities involving students, our children, in doing things and thinking about what they are doing, right? Doesn't this reek of a high metacognition level, a skill that we are trying to foster? What is a holistic view of this entire in its entirety? The holistic view of active learning on the digital platform includes the following components. One is encountering, coming across what is new information, new knowledge, whether it's an information, whether it's an idea, and whether it's not been in our prior knowledge, we are encountering that. Then we are engaging with that information and ideas. We are trying that idea at our own level and we are trying to make meaning, to make it relevant to our learning. And finally, we are reflecting on the learning that happens. As we all know, and I'm sure as educators, you will agree with me, what is enduring understanding? Understanding that is relevant, meaningful, which has application to real life, and which is why it is sustainable and stands the test of time. That's the holistic view of active learning. Moving next, let's talk about what is the blended approach. I spoke about that earlier. When we talk about using digital in its highest format today, are we saying it is a high-tech classroom? Our focus is on creating an instructional approach that uses the digital strategies, the tools that are there at our disposal in tandem, in sync with the best practices in the classroom. The exact terms that I mentioned earlier. DAP, developmentally appropriate practices, learning by doing, experiential learning, hands-on engaging environments, exactly that. It simply means, in a very common language and a layman's term, that the teachers can use those comprehensive bits from the toolbox to map traditional and digitally enhanced strategies, marry the two in a way that this caters to the needs of our learners. And they are unique. They are not in the same environment, yet their needs are differentiated and their needs are extremely unique. So that's how we reach to our stakeholders. Moving ahead, let's talk about what is this innovation? Learning practices that combine the in-class activities that we as facilitators plan. A session plan is extremely important to us, very crucial in the framework of learning. This is combining the in-class activities with the delivery through the online resources. And there is a huge repertoire of these resources that are available at our disposal. But again, as facilitators, what becomes crucial is we go through it with a comb and decide what is best suited to the objective of our day plan, what is best suited to the need of our learner, and is it going with the WACT model theory? Is it visual? Is it auditory? Is it kinesthetic? Is it tactile in some way where the learner is so strongly immersed in learning? It involves integrating and interspersing face-to-face engagement alongside e-interactive online activities. We are going to see all this through the course of this evening that we are mapping now. Next slide, please. The importance and objectives of AL environments, the active learning environments. So I'm going to just summarize what I spoke till now, and I've spoken it and repeated it practically twice, that the importance is that it helps the learner to encounter new learning. It helps them to engage with the material that comes in front of them. And when I say material, that's the kind of teaching learning engagements that come in an environment where the learner is not sitting with you physically present right there in the same room. And also, how do we use this toolbox, which is so comprehensive, available at our disposal as facilitators to bring out all the objectives to achieve the outcomes of teaching and learning. Moving ahead, please. We spoke about it, and it's now time to understand how is it that we make this happen. So here we are with the why of it, which we've already covered. And Yesha, over to you now to understand more on the how of this entire framework.
Thank you, Neelu. Yes, rightly said that we as facilitators design the environment for our learners, whether it's the physical environment or it's the virtual environment. So today we have been encountering or discovering various tools and apps in the virtual environment. And we are also engaging our learners in an active learning process. But most of the tools that we see, or we encounter, we always, as preschool educators, we always say, oh, this tool is very effective for older learners. How can I bring this tool to my preschool classrooms? How can I get my learners engaged yet use an effective tool for the same? So let's explore a few tools and strategies which we as preschool facilitators can use in our classrooms to promote active learning. So for that, as we know the term active learning, I also want my audience here, my participants here to be active. So the first activity that we're going to move on to is a game, bingo with a twist. So are you all ready? So for this game, we would require 6 chits. And on those chits, I want you all to write numbers from 1 to 6. Now, I want you all to be active participants, because if you're not active participants, you will not understand how you can create an engaging environment in your class. So I request each one of you to make chits from 1 to 6. If you've done so, I would want you all to just type a message in the chat box or give me a thumbs up for the same. 6 chits with numbers from 1 to 6. I have my chits here. 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm sorry, and 5. So once you're done with your chits, you can mention it here in the chat box that you're ready and we can go ahead with the game. So yes, you all must have heard the term bingo, okay? And you must have played this game in your class, or you must have also played the game of housing. It's the similar game, the game of bingo. But today we're going to do something different. We're going to play bingo with a twist. So yes, I can see Jeshta who says she's ready. I can see Neetu who says she's ready. All right, so let's move on. So for this, we're going to use the tool, the picker wheel. All right, so now let me take you to the rules of the game. So the rule of the game is, what you would be doing is, you have your chits ready, okay? You will first select a chit, any number. So right now what I'm doing is, I'm selecting a number. So this is number 5, and then I'm going to spin the picker wheel. Okay, so now the picker wheel has chosen number 1. What I would be doing is, if my number matches with the number that the picker wheel has selected, I will drop it in this bowl, or I'll keep it aside. And if it does not match with the number that the picker wheel has selected, I will keep it back in my cards. Are you clear with the instructions? All right. So are we ready for the game? Everybody? Okay, here we go. So we begin the game. Quickly pick a card of your choice. I'm picking number 1. Okay. You could pick any number of your choice. Let's spin. Okay, the picker wheel has selected 2, so I'm not going to drop it in my bowl. I'm going to keep it aside. So I'll hide the choice because I don't want the same number to be repeated again. Let me pick a number. I've done it. All right, it's number 5 and I selected number 5. So let me drop it in my box here. Okay, we continue it quickly now. Okay, I have number 6 with me and it's 4, so I'll keep it aside. Okay, number 3, but I've selected number 4. Okay. And number 1, 3. So I'll not drop it in my bowl. And now it's the last one. Okay, it was 6. I have 2 with me. So I've placed it here. Okay. So I would like to know which numbers have you dropped in your bowl? So quickly, participants, could you write how many numbers have you dropped in your bowl? Could you write the numbers? Okay. Okay, we have Jeshta with 1, 2, 4. We have Vandana with 5, number 5. All right. Okay, we have Neetu with 1, 4, and 2. All right. Okay. So now, when we were playing this game, okay, generally, when we were playing this game, what did we see? We are allowing our learners to predict. Okay, we are allowing them to predict a number. And if the prediction is right, okay, they drop it in the bowl. And if no, they'll place it aside. Now, as a facilitator, what you would be doing is you could make a choice. You could either ask the learners to count the number of cards they have left with them or the number of cards that's there in their bowl. Also, we also notice here is we can have it as a large group activity where we can have all our learners getting involved. They actually have their cards, they can show you their cards, okay, they can drop the cards, and it's a fun activity for them. Also, how can I extend this activity further? I could extend this activity if it is a junior KG class. I could extend this activity by asking the learners to write the numbers. Either they've dropped it in the bowl or they've kept the set with them. They could write these numbers. If it is a senior KG class toward the end, we could ask them to match the numbers and create a new 2-digit number. If we want to, we could even do that. Also, the picker wheel, I have chosen only 6 numbers on the picker wheel. You could choose 8 numbers too. You can also change the numbers out there. These are just 1-digit numbers. You can even have 2-digit numbers. Now, how is the picker wheel now the same? 1 second. Can you see my slide? Bingo with a twist.
Yes, we can, Yesha.
All right, thank you. All right. So now, how could we extend this game? Now we can extend this game by writing letters. We can extend this game by writing words. We can also extend this game with rhyming words. You could have pictures on the picker wheel and you could have words. The learners could have words with them. And then either they could match the word with the word on the picker wheel, or we can ask them to predict and place it in the bowls further. Now let's see a few more examples or a few more games that we can play using a picker wheel. Now, we can also extend the picker wheel to, as a visual alternative to a dice. So just now, we just spoke about how we can take our traditional teaching methods into the virtual world. Generally in schools, we used to use a dice, we used to roll a dice, or we used to use a spin wheel. So a picker wheel is a best alternative for a dice that we used to use in class. Also, we can use the picker wheel for a lot of interactive games in class. So one of the interactive game here is the game of coding that we can do with our learners. You can see there's a picker wheel here with colors, okay? And what we could ask our learners now, I'll just spin the wheel for you. Okay, here it is. So now it's number 1, okay? So what we could ask one of the learners, we could ask him or her to say which number is the picker wheel on, and then further on, what they could do is they could pick up that color crayon and they could write the number. The whole class can be engaged in it. So this way you can continue this activity. So this is a coding activity where we're doing numbers with colors. Any other ideas you have that you would want to share that I could do with this picker wheel? Any other ideas? Any other thoughts that you feel we could do here with the picker wheel? We can make the children write their roll numbers too, okay? Shapes on which the numbers are written, yes. Yes, we could do that. We could ask the learner which shape it is, and we could ask them to write, identify the shape, identify the color, and identify the number. So you can have 3 attributes at a time. Yes, shapes also can be discussed. You're right. Also, we could make this activity very interesting. Now, this is where they are identifying the number, they're picking a crayon and they're writing the number with that particular color crayon. So, for example, I'm using a yellow color to write 1, but you can make it more interesting. What you could do is you could ask the learners to place color cards. You could ask them to place number cards, and you could also ask them to place the shape cards. And then when the picker wheel stops on number 1, what they will have to do is they will have to pick up the color card yellow, pick up the shape circle, and pick up the number card 1. And that's how they will make a whole unit by decoding all the 3 attributes. For letters, first letter of the name can be introduced. Yes, you can also have activities with letters. You can also have activities with words. You can have thematic activities. I'll take you further with the same. All right. Now let's go to the next one. Now the next activity here is, you can see the picker wheel is a color wheel. Okay. Now here, the number of times the wheel spins, the child can choose the color code and then color. Okay. You can extend this activity by asking senior KG learners, which blocks are colored more, which blocks are the colored, which is the least. You can also ask the learners to count the blocks and write the numbers below. You can even extend this activity further in senior KG classroom by doing greater and smaller numbers. You can do this activity even in your nursery classrooms. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors. I can choose only 2 colors. I could ask the learners to have some blocks with them, some red or yellow colored blocks. I could ask them to place it one on top of each other. And I could ask them to see which tower is taller and which is shorter. So you can extend this activity with hands-on, with actual, with actual toys that they have. You can even have. I'll just share an activity with you. What you could do is you could ask the learner. Here you could have a picker wheel where you could have A written and you could have B written. All right, and you spin the wheel. Now, each time you spin the wheel, the learner has to quickly run and get an object related to that letter. Now, again, the picker wheel will spin whatever choice it wants to, right? So I quickly run and get an object of A. Then I quickly run and get an object of B. I'll ask my learners to keep these objects in line, okay? Maybe the picker wheel must have shown letter A 8 times and must have shown letter B 3 times. So our assumption would be, okay, so because the picker wheel has shown the letter A 8 times and letter B 3 times, maybe the length of A objects would be longer. But that's not the case. You know how it would be? It would be very different. Now, for example, if I pick objects with letter B, which are really long or which are really big, what would happen? The objects of letter A would be, the length of objects of letter A would be shorter compared to the length of objects of letter B. So what you're doing here, you're integrating learning. You're doing letters and also you're allowing your learners to explore the concept of long and short. Okay. So now let's move on to the next activity. Any questions? You can certainly type in the chat box. We can also use this wheel for a lot of thematic activities for parts of the body. I think you all know we throw the dice and there's a body part, for example, leg, and then we ask the learners to do an action related to it. How can we make it more active? We don't specify the action to the learner. We allow the learners to choose the actions of their choice. You could have animals, you could have transport on the picker wheel, and you could take it further. Also, you could have pictures. For example, here it's a part of the body. It may be thematic, but you can link it to math. You can also link it to letters. So maybe nose. What's the beginning sound? N. They could show you N. Okay, how many? So 1, 2. So you can further extend and integrate this to maths, thematic, and English. You can also use the picker wheel for picking random names for learners for turn taking. And it has really helped a lot of teachers because we know in the online sessions, we have parents who continuously tell us, my child has not got a turn. Or at times, we also have the learners, they would always keep raising their hands for their turn. So the picker wheel is the best alternative. Here, the child knows that, okay, my turn is done, and you eliminate that name from the picker wheel. So this way, if you have any kind of speaking activities, you want to do any kind of turn taking activities in your class, it's no bias. So the learner also knows that it's a picker wheel who is picking the name of the kid, and you can use it as a best alternative in your class rather than ticking mark. Okay, this child is done. This child is done. This is a visual uh, tool which you as a facilitator can use in class, and it's effective even for the learners. Now, what are some of the features of the picker wheel? Now, one is it has various wheel customization. You just have to go online, type on picker wheels or spin wheels. You'll have various customized picker wheels. You can select the ones that you want. You can add numbers, you can add shapes, you can add pictures to it, you can add colored backgrounds to it. Again, a full screen is available. You must have seen, I when I streamed it, it was on full screen. So full screen mode is available. Third, data can be inserted by you and it can be saved and it can be used multiple times. Also, if you have created the spin wheel or the picker wheel, you can share the link with your co-teachers and they can also use the same in their classrooms. And then again, like I said, there are no biases. So it's fun, it's engaging. I think the audio is not on. There's good audio to it, and the children really enjoy, because especially when the number or the letter is streamed, there's like this bang, and children really enjoy the audio and the visual effects of the picker wheel. And this is like a blended approach which we generally use in a traditional classroom. Here we take it virtually, and it's fun, it's engaging, and you also get all your learners to participate in the same. Do you have any queries or questions related to the picker wheel, or any questions which I can extend on for any activities? Let's move on to the next activity. Okay, so get yourself ready for a story now, because now you've engaged yourself in some games. So get yourself engaged in a story. Now, this story is about Slug Needs a Hug. And the author of the story is Gene Wills and Tony Ross. There was a slimy, spotty, shiny, weeny slug. He was wet and weedy and very, very needy. His mummy didn't hug him. It began to bug him, and he wondered why. His mummy didn't hug him, and it began to bug him, and he wondered why. He spoke to the other creatures with different features and asked them what to do to make him more huggable, less slithery, and sluggable. Meow, perhaps if you were furrier and fluffier, your mom would give you a tight hug, said the kitten. Hmm, the slug thought. What do you think the slug did next? He put on a furry jacket and a woolly hat and went further. You look funny. If you need a hug from your mummy, you need feathers and a beak, said the bird. With a furry jacket, a woolly hat, feathers, and a beak, the slug met a piglet. The piglet roared with laughter, oink, oink, and said, If you need a hug, you need trotters and a tail. Trotters and a tail? Let's see further. What did the slug do? With trotters, tail, a furry jacket, a woolly hat, feathers, and a beak, the slug met a goat. "Ah, you look weird," said the goat. "If you need a hug, my friend, you need some horns stuck in your end." Hmm. The slug did as the goat had suggested, and he added horns and a mustache made out of strings. Look at the picture closely. The moth looked aghast and muttered. He whispered as he fluttered, "You need wings, you silly thing." Slug started thinking. The slug quickly made himself a pair, but he couldn't fly in the air. As he moved further, he met a fox. The fox said, although you smell delightful, but you look frightful, and you would never get a hug until you have a nose." "A nose?" thought the slug. The slug gazed into the brook to see his astonishing look. He couldn't recognize his own reflection. Buzz. "If she doesn't hug you now, then she never will," said the bee. What do you think? Do you think his mom will hug him? Think about it. Hoping the bee was right, Slug chugged slowly home that night to show his mom his fabulous disguise. But after all that he had done, she didn't recognize her son. "Mother, it's me," said the slug with surprise. "But I love the way you are. You are the sweetest slug by far. You're beautiful and charming. And if I could hug you, I would have hugged you, my darling," said the mom. "But I don't have arms, so I can kiss you." That's how the slug who wanted a hug got a lovable kiss from his mom. So, did you enjoy the story?
Nisha, I'm going to unmute and share with you that not only did I enjoy the story, I'm also sure the slug mama gave a very nice, sloppy, sticky, slippery kiss to the child. And I also want to say here that this brings about the beauty of what you just spoke. Thank you.
All right. So now, generally, what we do is we narrate stories in our classroom, and then we have a lot of extension activities. Now, we could have various extension activities in our story. At times, we have songs. At times, uh, we ask the learners to identify the characters in the story. At times, we also ask the learners to sequence the story in the right order. There's so many activities that we do in our classroom. But the question is, when I'm doing such an activity in my classroom, how can I engage all my learners? How can it not be only individual? It should always also be individual, okay, differential, yet I could engage every learner in my class on this online platform. So for this today, we are going to use the Jamboard as a tool. I think all of you must have explored the Jamboard for sure. Like we say, the Jamboard, works very well for older learners. They can type on the Jamboard, they can express themselves. But as we have younger learners, it's very difficult for our nursery and junior KG learners to actually type on the Jamboard. At times, because of lack of certain devices, uh, learners from senior KG also find it difficult to type on Jamboard. So let's see how we can have an extension activity, which is where we use this tool, the Jamboard. It will be interactive also. And I want each one of you to participate in this activity. Now, for this activity, before I go ahead, we will need these number cards. Okay, please keep your number cards with you. I hope you've kept it safely. All right. Okay. Sorry. So this is the Jamboard. The Jamboard is a tool that we generally, how many of y'all are aware of the Jamboard? How many of y'all are aware of the Jamboard? Okay. So the Jamboard is a tool. Okay. All right. The Jamboard is a tool that, if you are, okay, many of you all are not aware of this tool Jamboard. Okay. So if you are on Google, okay, if you have your email ID on Google, if you click on, okay, to the dots, if you click on to the dots, you'll see many dots. Many dots. I think I'll just show you here so that you're aware. Here, this is my email. Okay. Now here, if you click on these dots, all right, here, can you see? You have YouTube, you have Play, you have Gmail, you have Meet. Go further down. Here, can you see? You have the Jamboard here. You need to click on this. Okay. So this is the Jamboard tool. So now you're aware where you can find the tool Jamboard. Now let me take you back to the activity. Okay. So are we ready for the activity? So here we go. I hope you have your chits ready. The name of the story was The Slug Needs a Hug. So it's activity time, the first activity. Where did the slug live? Quickly, you need to type the number. Where do you think the slug lived? Did he live in the ocean? Did he live in the snowy capped mountains? Did he live in the desert? Or did he live in a place where there were lush green leaves? Okay, many of you have answered 4. So you feel the slug lived in a place where there were lush green leaves. All right, let's go next. Now there could be a few learners who would want to say 3. There could be a few learners who would just pick up their cards and say 3. Okay, so always remember, as facilitators, we need to engage our learners to say why. Why do they feel that they have selected 3? So I had a learner who actually came up to me and told me he lived in the desert on one side and his mom lived in the lush green forest. So whenever he wanted to play, he would come to the desert, and whenever he wanted to be with his mom, he would go to the lush green forest. So this is what the answer that the learner had. And I was absolutely fine with that answer because that's his way of, you know, uh, imagining where the slug lived, because the story is all about imagination. The child is imagining the setting or the environment in which the characters of the story live. Let's move further. Now, here, what you as a facilitator could do is If you have some specific answers, you could use the tool here. I'm using the pen. You could use the pen, and if you want, you can circle it. Okay, you could do that. Now let's move on. The next. If you were a slug, where would you like to live? Come on. If you were a slug, where would you like to live? I would want you to type it in the chat box now. If you were a slug, where would you like to live? If you were a slug, where would you like to live? You don't have to write the numbers. You have to write the place where would you like to live. Okay, Jesta says probably near the beach. Okay, Jesta. Why near the beach, Jesta? You need to
Probably I'll
write
get,
where would. Yes, yes,
sorry,
Jesta.
probably I'll get more water and fresh air.
Okay, because you'll get more water and fresh air. Okay, Rashida says she would like to stay by the lake. Anyone else? If you were a slug, where would you like to live? On the snowy mountains. You know where I would like to live? If I was a slug, I would like to live in a small corner near a crevice or something where it's moist, it's mushy, there's a lot of moss there. I would love to live there. Okay, with lush green trees. All right, you can come up. It's not necessary that you'll have to select the four alternatives only. Think about ideas. Where would you like to live? Children will come up with ideas like, I would like to live inside a toy. He would come up with such different ideas. That's how we encourage, thinking creatively. Come on. Yes. All right. Think about, I would like a few answers. Where would you like to live? If you were a slug, where would you like to live? Okay, so let's move further. You can certainly extend this activity. The first one, what the activity in the first slide, what we did was we related the setting in terms of the story. The second slide, what we did was we related the setting in terms of the child as an individual where he or she would see themselves if they were a slug. You can allow them to imagine the same. Also, if you want to extend this activity, what you could do is you could ask the learners to draw. If you feel you're not getting the responses, verbal responses from the learners, you could quickly ask the learners to draw where would the slug like to live, and they could show. And you can also extend it by asking the parents, who are our stakeholders, to write, what is the child trying to say about his or her drawing. Let's move on. Next, which were the characters that the slug met in the story? Quickly type the numbers. Which were the characters that the slug met in the story? Was it a moth, a puppy, a cat, a pig, a goat, a zebra? Okay, it's 1, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 4, 5. Yes, it's 1, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 4, 5. Yes, you're right. It's 1, 3, 4, 5. So you can actually hold your cards up. 1, 3, 4, 5. So yes, the slug met the moth, the cat, the pig, and the goat. Now, I would like to ask you a question. What do you think would have happened if the slug would have met the zebra? What do you think? What do you think the zebra must have told the slug? Because the cat said you could be furrier and fluffier, right? What do you think the zebra would have told the slug? Come on, think about it. If the slug would have met the zebra, what do you think he would have told the slug to do to get a hug from his mom? Okay, to have some stripes, all right. And if he would have met a puppy, okay, all right, okay, he could have black and white stripes. Yes, yes, he should have stripes on his body. So again, here, can you see how did we extend this activity? Now the learners, through the story, the learners were aware that each time the slug met an animal, the animal spoke about the attribute which is related to his physical or its physical features. You can again extend this activity by asking learners if he met other animals, what would they tell the slug? This will allow the learners think and come up with, relating to the attributes of these particular animals. Okay, let's go further. We can do a lot of activities with this, but we have the other slides also. Now, which accessories did the slug use to impress his mom? Did he use a furry jacket? Did he use a necklace? Did he use a beak? Did he use wings? Did he use feathers? Or did he use a lovely diamond ring? Oh, now I see you all are really quick. It's 1, 3, 4, and 5. And 5. Yes. 1, 3, 4, 5 again. Yes. Okay. Now, yes, it is. Now let's move further. How can you extend this activity to get the learners engaged? You always, most of the teachers say, Ma'am, we don't want learners to be sitting in one place. They love scavenger hunts. They love to run around, get things. So how you can extend here is, you can quickly tell your learners, pick 4 accessories of your choice and dress yourself up. Quickly run, get 4 accessories of your choice and dress yourself up. I would have enjoyed this activity if your cameras were on. For sure, you would have ran, picked 4 accessories and dressed yourself up. Okay, if you had to pick any 4 accessories, remember, don't pick the same accessories that the slug picked. You can pick any accessories of your choice. That's what you need to keep. You need to keep it open for your learners. Okay, so that each learner comes up with a different idea. We don't want the same kind of outfits or the same kind of answers. We want learners to come up with different kinds of ideas. So quickly tell me, if you had to pick 4 accessories, which accessories would you pick? Quickly, 4 accessories. And you had to dress yourself up to impress, just like the slug. Which 4 accessories? Okay, a beaded necklace, okay, a bracelet, a leaf anklet, and a staff. All right. Anyone else? Which 4 accessories would you like to select? All right, I'll go further. Now, okay, sunglasses, bracelet, jacket. Yes, we asked our learners to do so. And they had such creative ideas. Children brought umbrellas, children put on a hat, they put on necklaces, they brought dupattas. Yes, they put on a sling bag. So it's a fun activity. Children really enjoy. And every child, the instruction was the same. Please note this. The instruction was the same, but the outcome was different. Every child picked up different accessories. Even if they picked the same accessories, the way they wore the accessory was very, very different. So this is how you can engage your learners and extend the story also. Now, what I'm going to do is, we are going to share a Padlet link with you. Sorry, we are going to share a Jamboard link with you so that you can explore this. Okay. Now, before we share the link with you, I'll just show you certain features because many of you are not aware of the Jamboard. So the Jamboard has a feature of a pen. You can select the pen that you want. Okay, it has brush. You can select the color that you want. It has an eraser. Okay, it has the arrow tool if you want to point something. It has a sticky note if you want to make it attractive. I'll just write something here. Maybe hi, and you can see. and you can just drag it and place it. So next, it has a feature where you can put an image if you want to. That's how we've put an image on our Jamboard. That's what you've seen before. Okay. You can even draw shapes. There are various features of shapes here. You can have a text box added here, and you can have your laser pointer here. All right. So these are the various features of the Jamboard. Miss Neelu, can you just share the link with them? Thank you. Now I want you all to click on the link and write what did the slug want and how did he try to get it. Don't worry, you can be anonymous also here. Okay. So if you can try and explore, yeah, click on the link. You can choose, if you want to choose a pen, you can choose a pen. You want to choose a text box, you can choose a text box. You want to choose a sticky note, you can choose a sticky note, and you can type. Could you click on the link? Okay, someone writes the slug wanted a hug from his mom. Okay, yes, you've moved it. All right. As you write up your responses, I will also tell you how you can use this Jamboard. What are the alternative ways you can use this Jamboard? Now, if you're doing an activity with your learners where you're asking them to come up with sentences or you're asking them to come up with words, you can actually type it on the Jamboard. You can use the sticky note and type it on the Jamboard, and the whole class can see the sentences shared by them. Further on, you can save it and share the Jamboard link with the learners. The parents can go through the sentences that is shared by the class, and you can also encourage the learners to read those sentences. This is how you can use the Jamboard. You can also, the best feature of the Jamboard is, you can have both the facilitators access. So right now, right now you all can access, right? So you can have both the facilitators access. Can I share the link again? Miss Neelu, can we share the link again, please?
Yes, sure.
And also, if you want to share the link with your co-facilitator, okay, you just have to copy this and then share the link. Can we move further so that you can explore this app later? All right. So can we move further, participants? If you could give me a yes, or are you still, some of you, are you typing? Because I can just see one person here. So generally you come to know how many participants have voted in. So you will get to see, yes. All right, we'll move further. Okay, so this was the Jamboard. Again, I use the Jamboard as a tool for an extension activity for my story. You can certainly use the Jamboard for your language activities. You can even use it for your math activity. You can put different images in it. You can also use the Jamboard where, you can do. So for example, you want to do classification. Okay, you have a lot of pictures below, and you want your learners to tell you, objects that, or maybe things that we eat and things that we drink, and you want to sort it. You can actually have pictures and sort it on the Jamboard live in front of your learners. So once you explore the Jamboard, you'll get to know what are the various activities that you can conduct further in your classrooms. Let's go further. Okay. The next tool that I'm going to talk about is word wall. Okay. Now, word wall is a tool where you can easily create your own resources. Okay. Now, these resources are available, created by other facilitators also. So there's a community where you can actually access these resources. They are interactive. There are a lot of interactive and printable activities also. They are both individual and teacher led, and they are interactive and standalone activities. So I'll just take you through the word wall so you'll get an idea about what. Okay, here it is. I'll take you to the first activity. The name of this activity is Jungle Play. Again, this has a lot of music. Okay, currently our audio is not functioning, but it has music. So here what we do is we do a random spinner. Can you see? Okay, and it selects a shadow. So can you quickly tell me what was the shadow selected? Which shadow is this? Could you quickly type it in your chat box? Which animal shadow is this? Yes, it's an elephant. And then we say flip. There you see an elephant. And then you can ask your learners to enact like an elephant. Okay? Okay. So we can eliminate this. Can you see the functions here? Eliminate. Okay. I'll just do one more example because you've got the gist of the game. Flip. Yes. Right. So yes, you all can identify the shadows, but also this is a game where what happens is Nilu, can you see the activity? Am I audible? Okay, thank you so much, Jeshta. All right. So now this is one kind of an activity. I will just show you now the features here. Now this is a word wall. You can see here, this is the word wall. There are various activities that you can design as facilitators. Here, this is matchup where you can drag and drop missing words, unjumble, open the box, anagram, maze chase, quiz, group sort, matching pairs, label diagrams, game shows, true or false, random wheel, find and match, word search, flip. Okay, so there are various activities here. What you'll have to do is you have to select. Okay, you'll have to select. If you want to create something, you can just go there and create one for you, or there are a lot of activities available in the community. Can you see here? There are a lot of activities available in the community. I'll just, okay. Now again, you need to select DAP, that is developmentally appropriate activities, because there are activities created from preschool teachers, primary teachers, and secondary teachers. So there are lots of activities here. You can either select resources created in the community by other facilitators, or you can even create your own. Okay. Let me take you through the random wheel here. Can you see the various random wheels here? I'll just click on something created by some facilitator here. Okay. So this is created by Rajendra. Please note this may not be age appropriate because I'm just randomly selecting something. Okay. You need to check which activities are age appropriate for your class. Sure. I'll also show you a few more activities. So here, this is a sorting activity. For a long sound and short sound. quickly in the chat box, I want you all to type which of these pictures have long sounds and which of these pictures have short sounds. Quickly. So it's a cake, map, pan, bag, snake, table. All right. Short sounds. Okay. So let me do it. Map, bag. Just let me put cake here. Snake, table. I know jam has a short sound, but I just wanted to show you. Okay. And then we need to submit the answer. Okay. Can you see? The app actually shows you, which is your correct selection and which isn't. Yes. Now, what you could do here is you can create a game, an interactive game. You can share this interactive game link with your learners. They can do it one-on-one at home. Okay. Also, or you can extend this game in the classroom. Again, like I said, it has a lot of audio. Children really enjoy it. Okay. It also shows you your score and the time. So now this is one activity created like that. There are many activities here. Okay, so there's this classic, there's jungle. You can actually select the themes. Okay, there's a classic theme, there's a jungle theme, there's a space theme, there's a cloud theme, there's a primary theme. Whichever theme you want, you can select. Okay, and whichever template you want for the game or the kind of activity, that also can be selected. Yes, Jishta, it's a self-corrective activity which can be played individually and also can be done in the class. Okay, now moving on next. Do you want me to share the link of the word wall with you all participants? Okay, now let's move on. All right, I'll do that at the end. I will share the links of the word wall. Okay, I'll also inform you that in the word wall tool, you as a facilitator, from one email ID, you can create only 5 resources for free. You can create only 5 resources for free, but you can use the multiple resources available in the community. So whatever resources are available in the community, any link you want, you can use it. Okay, but you can create only 5 resources. Okay, once you stream it. So what we suggest is, because see, in a school you are 10 teachers. So what you could do is 10 into 5. So how many resources in all? 50. You can create 50 resources. So you can each teacher can create 5 resources from an ID. So for example, if I want to teach the long and the short sound A, and I'm a senior KG teacher, I created it. I can share it with my co-teachers because there's a community and we can share it with the co-teachers. The other co-teachers can use the same game in their other classes also. Because once you exhaust your 5 your 5 resources that you've created, then you'll have to go ahead and you'll have to pay for it. Okay, moving next. Now today, right now we explored uh, a Jamboard. We also explored WordWall as a tool. Now let's see how we can use PowerPoint as a tool very effectively. We all have been using PowerPoint as a tool. I think that has been a savior for all of us during the pandemic. So let's see how we can use PowerPoint as a tool very effectively. Okay, so now we're going to play a game. Okay, and the name of this game is Zoom In. Okay, so are we ready? So now I want you to look closely at this image. I want you to tell me, what do you think is this? Can you tell me what do you think is this? Quickly type in the chat box. Okay, and I Someone says it's an eye. Someone says it's a tiger. Someone says it looks like a dinosaur's eye. Okay, yes, it's an eye. Okay, let's move next. Eye of a tiger. Okay, let's move next. Now look closely. What do you see? How would you like to change your response? Any change in your response? Okay. Now, someone said it's an eye of a lion. Now, any changes in your response? Look closely. First, everyone recognized it was an eye. Most of you knew it was an eye of an animal. Later, when you saw the next image, you knew, yes, it is an eye of an animal, but it looks like an eye of a big cat. So I got a lot of responses like tiger. Okay, all right. Someone is saying now, slowly you're looking at the other features being unfolded. So I can see someone typing leopard or a cheetah. Okay, let me unfold the picture again for you. Now, what do you feel? Yes, it's the eye of the leopard. So, what is this activity? Now, this is a zoom in activity. It is a thinking routine. Now, what happens here is you're looking closely at the small bit of image that is revealed, and then as a facilitator, you reveal more of the image. So, and again, what do you do? Now, if you know the chat box was open, if you know, if I could unmute yourself, I would have certainly got a lot of replies. Okay, and we could actually have a conversation on it. But because the chat box is very limited to a conversation, I will take it further. Now, when you reveal the image, you can certainly ask the learners, what new things do you see? So initially you saw the eye, then you slowly saw the features unfold. Some of the learners would say, I could see a part of the face. I could see the nose of the animal. Okay, I can see that it's an animal which has, you know, fur on it. Maybe, you know, there could be a this way that learners could unreveal a lot of features of what of the animal that they see. How does this change your hypothesis or interpretation? So initially, I saw one of you, you know, type it. I think it's the eye of a dinosaur. And slowly, the same person typed out by saying, it's an eye of a big cat. And then it's an eye of a cheetah. Can you see how the hypothesis or the interpretation changed when the image started to reveal itself? And then you have new information and new answers. So, what is happening here? Each time the image is getting unfolded, the learner is coming up with new inferences. The learner is unfolding and connecting his schemas, his past knowledge. Okay, it's going from known to unknown. Slowly, things are being unfolded. What you could do is you could reveal and question until the whole image has been revealed. Okay, now this is a single image where I've just taken one character that's an animal. You can also make it more complicated. I'll show you an example further. Now, later on, you can also ask the questions. What are, you know, the lingering questions that they have about the image? Maybe a learner can ask a few questions related to the image. Maybe they could share a few thoughts related to the animal cheetah. All right, let's go further. Again, the next activity is the same zoom in activity. It's a little different from the previous activity. Now, can you tell me what can you see here in this picture? Now you can see the animal as a whole. So quickly, can you type the name of the animal that you see here in this picture? Okay, it's an oryx or it's a kind of an antelope. Yes, yes, Lubna. Yes, Rashida, it's an oryx or it's a kind of an antelope. Okay, what do you think is the oryx or the antelope doing here? What do you think it is doing here? Or where is the oryx or the antelope? Okay, it's walking. All right, let's unfold the picture. Now slowly we're revealing the picture. Okay. Lubna says she thinks that the oryx is going to fight. Okay, yes, maybe. Okay, anyone else? Okay, which are the other animals now? Okay, it's walking. Which are the other animals now that you see here in this picture, other than the oryx? You see the giraffe, you see the zebra, yes. And do you see they're a part of one same scene? Okay. What do you think all these animals, or why do you think all these animals are gathered here? Or what do you think are they doing? Think about it. Okay. I'm just probing the questions to you. I'll go further to the next slide. Now look at the picture unfold. Yes. Now, could you look at the picture as a whole and can you tell me what is the oryx doing here? Okay, it's near a water hole. All right. Yes. Let me unfold the picture to you now. Okay, someone says that's come to drink water. Yes. Now, when we began the picture, we began with one animal. Okay. Slowly and steadily, when we unfolded the picture, we had more characters coming in. And now, when we unfolded the complete picture, we see that this animal is a part of a complete composite picture. It's a part of a scene where there are other animals too. Okay, someone says it's escaping from the group of animals. Yes, that's how our learners come up with answers. It's certainly escaping from a group of animals. You can further extend this activity in the form of a picture talk with your learners. Okay, you can also ask your learners to quickly name the animals that they see. Count the number of animals. So come on, I'll give you a challenge. Quickly count the number of zebras here. Quickly. Okay, searching for his family. All right, yeah, he's searching for his family, maybe. Yes. Quickly count the number of zebras here. Quickly. Okay, he's finished drinking water. Yes, Devi. Okay, Rosa says 17. Okay, someone says 18, 20, 15. Oh, I think I need to count along with you now. How many? All right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What do you think? Do you think this is a zebra? Yes or no? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yes, as many participants have mentioned 17. That's great. Yes, there are 17. You can also extend this activity by asking them to talk about animals which have stripes. You can extend it by asking them to talk about other animals which may have spots. Okay. If you look closely, most of these animals have some kind of patterns on them. They could talk about, what are the different animals or what are the different kinds of patterns that we could see on animals. Also, one more thing, today when we do picture talks, we can avoid all these animated picture talks. We can actually have this real life scene pictures. We can show it to our learners and do a picture talk. It's so relatable to our learners. You can also talk about animals which have long horns. So you can extend this activity much more further. You can even extend this activity on the jam board. You can have various animals, ask them to choose an animal of their choice. You can also select the patterns of the animals and ask them, which patterns did you see in the slide? So this way, this activity can go further. So let me move next. Okay. Now the zoom in activity, the main idea here is to big. Okay. The main idea is to begin to link the idea of metacognition and visualization. I think Neelu spoke about metacognition. I'll just extend here. There's a lot of visualization also here happening because they're seeing a part of the picture. They're trying to unfold it first, in their brains. They're trying to unfold it from their past experience, what it could be. Okay. So the main idea here is to begin to link ideas of metacognition and visualization, the learners are making predictions for what will be revealed in the next image. Now, they could be images, they could be words, they could be symbols that are going to come to their mind during the whole process. Just like here, we did see, you had a lot of thoughts that came to your mind. You went from a dinosaur to a tiger to, specifically to a leopard. So this is how we're going to move on with prediction. And a prediction is a very, very important skill. Okay. Now we use prediction in science experiments. You do ask your learners, right? What do you think will happen? We ask them to bring in hypothesis for the same. So here you can do prediction, you can do hypothesis. It's not only prediction and hypothesis is not standalone to science. You can bring it in language, you can bring it in a picture conversation, you can also bring in it in maths, like we did in the bingo game. We did prediction out there too. So there are a lot of problem solving skills also here happening. Let's move on next. So let's see the next activity that we would be doing using the PowerPoint as a tool. And I'm for sure, I think you would enjoy this activity because many of us have this question that, ma'am, I want all my learners to participate, but I also want individual learners to participate. How can I go further, especially in language? Okay, so this is an activity here. What you can see here, you can see a lot of color cards here, right? So as I click on, can you see each color card will reveal itself with two words. Here I've put in two words. You can add words, you can add numbers. You can go ahead and see the PPT first, and then we can discuss about this. Okay, so these words are related to group 1 words of Jollyphonics. So SATIPN. All right. So the two words that I can see is as and pit. Now, what you could do here is if you have a small group activity, you can like maybe 8 learners in a group. You can give each learner a turn. So here I could give a learner a turn. The learner could read as pit, maybe phonetically, eater. Okay. Then moving on next. Slowly, a picture is revealed. It's faded. Okay. So this way you continue. If sat, the second learner gets the opportunity. The other learners, if you really want the other learners to be engaged here, you can ask them to keep word cards. Okay, and they could pick the word cards. So if you don't want so many words here, you could have one word. So you have only 8 words. You can even do that. All right, let's move on next. It tap. Now I want the participants to look at this image. I know it's a very blurry image. If you can quickly type, what do you think is this image about? Or what can you see in this image? If you could quickly type, what do you think is this image about? Or what do you, okay, someone says picnic. Okay, a family picnic. All right. Okay, in the park. So again, the learners are trying to see through this blurry picture and trying to associate, okay, what could this picture be about? Someone says it's a birthday celebration at the park. Yes, maybe. Now, let's see this picture unfold. Can you see this picture unfold? Here. Okay. You can go on further by doing a picture talk with your learners. But if you closely look at the picture, you will notice the pictures here are all related to the words that we read. That is the group 1 words. If you look here, the pin, the tap, can you see this? So what are you doing? You're associating words, okay? And then you're bringing it to a picture conversation. Many a times we do language in isolation, okay? We only do word reading, but it's very important to do language which is comprehensive in terms of how they can use language in their daily activities, in terms of when they are interacting with someone, and also they should learn to use these words in complete statements. Okay. Now again, how you can extend this picture? You can even extend this picture by just asking children to keep word cards. Pick any two words that they feel are a part of the picture. They could quickly pick the two words. You can ask one of the students to unmute. Like I could just say, Neelu, unmute yourself. Can you read the two words that you picked, which is related to the picture? This way, every learner can pick a word of his choice. And also, he's reading it. Okay. So this is the way you can have an interactive learning session in the class using PowerPoint as an interactive tool. So these are a few tools that we wanted to take you through. Uh, there is an exhaustive list of tools that you can use for sure, but I think with the limited time, these are a few tools that we wanted to share with you, which would be very effective as an interactive tool for your blended uh, approach. Now to end here is, teaching is a creative profession, not a delivery system. Great teachers do pass on information, but what a great teacher also do is mentor, stimulate, provoke, and engage. Yes, we all mentor by scaffolding our learners. We stimulate by creating a learning environment for our learners. We provoke through open-ended conversation, and engage them in meaningful, age-appropriate activities. That's it, Neelu. Over to you.
My dear Yesha, you've brought the essence of an active learning environment together so beautifully. I think this was a very interesting time where a lot of activities put together. Thank you for that, Yesha. And a very big thank you to our interactive audience. I could see a lot of chats buzzing with everything that we saw. I hope you had the essence of the activities which can be planned, which can be customized to your own classroom, to your own learner, which Yesha has taken through. Yesha, you did mention that you will be sharing the links of the word wall on chat. Yeah.
Yes, I'll do that.
So thank you for that, Yesha. And thank you, dear audience, for a wonderful session with us. This is what we talk about, the beauty of active learning environments. I have a question for all of you. Did you notice what the facilitator brought out? And the facilitator in this case, in this session, we are talking about Miss Yesha Mahesh. Did she research well? Was she prepared with her stuff well? Was there in-depth understanding of every tool that you spoke about explained to you? Could you see enthusiasm and passion the way I did, right? So what does that make each one of us and her a lifelong learner? And that's the beauty that every facilitator has to bring into the classroom. So you can see we are putting up links on the chat, which will help you to utilize this comprehensive toolbox and keep it handy when you plan active learning environments, because that's the way forward. The world may not be the same, education may not be the same when we come back. Our learners have risen up to the occasion, and it's going to now become much more. This is our last slide of ECA and APA. Talks about the mentorship program, talks about our membership that's there. So feel free to reach out to us, become life members, become members of ECA APA. And this opens up a host of activities and collaborative learning moments for each one of us. Thank you, dear audience. We pride, ECA prides itself on being on time each time, and so we are today. Thank you very much, Yesha. Thank you, Jeshta, for joining us. Thank you. Good day. Have a great weekend ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Any last question that you have before we end the session? Okay, brilliant. Thank you all. Have a great evening ahead. Dear participants, may we please request you
Exit the meeting. We are closing this up now. Thank you so much.